I am 76 years old. I live alone in a big, quiet house. My company, which I built, was acquired for $207 million. That was 12 years ago. I mention the figure only because for so long it was the only marker I thought mattered. It is the reason why my daughter's voice is a memory and not a phone call I receive on Sunday afternoons. This is not the story of a villain. I need you to understand that. I was not cruel, nor selfish in any way that I could see at the time. I was driven. I was providing. I was building something lasting. That's what I told myself. It was what I told my wife, Carol, and my daughter, Sophie. It was what my father taught me. A man's worth is his work. I believed it. I lived it. And in doing so, I evaporated my own life. I suppose everything begins in the ordinary way. I was 29 years old, working 70-hour weeks at a budding packaging supply company. Carol was pregnant with Sophie. Panic was something physical, a cold stone in my stomach every morning. I had to secure things. I had to get us a house in a good school district. I had to make sure they never lacked for anything. So when the opportunity arose to start my own business, I took it. It wasn't a great passion. It was a gap in the market that I saw. A practical solution. It felt like responsibility. Sophie was born on a Tuesday. I was at the office. I had left Carol at the hospital that morning with contractions starting, promising her that I would return after a crucial meeting. The meeting dragged on. There was traffic. By the time I arrived at the hospital, she was already wrapped in a little blanket and sleeping in the arms of Carol. Carol was also sleeping, exhausted. A nurse looked at me with a calm pity that I didn't understand. "You missed the best part of the show," she said. I remember feeling a pang, a real one, but then I pushed it away. She was there. I had made it. That's what I kept telling myself. That became the pattern. The small, reasonable absence, the compensation. I missed her first steps because I was at a trade show in Atlanta. I missed the first grade play. She was a tree. She was so proud to be a tree because an important client was in town. Each time I brought home a consolation prize, a doll from Atlanta, an expensive ice cream after the play. Carol would say, "She just wanted you to be there, Mike." And I nodded, sincerely believing that I understood. "Next time," I would say, "I promise. This deal, this effort, is for next time. It's for all the times that will come after." The business grew. The house got bigger. We moved to the house where I am sitting now. Sophie's room was at the other end of the hallway, far from my home office. I could hear her practicing the clarinet, that squeaky and wavering sound. I intended to go tell her that she sounded good, but the phone was ringing. An email was coming in, and I thought, I'll see her at dinner. But then I worked during dinner with a tray brought to my desk. The clarinet would stop. The house would fall silent. You don't see the erosion. You really don't see it. It's not a crack that appears one day. It's the slow, imperceptible wear of the ground. It's the silence that becomes the normal language. Sophie became a teenager, then a young woman. Her questions changed from, "Daddy, can you play?" to "Dad, are you coming?" to a flat and resigned, "Where is Dad?" I heard the change, but I was too busy putting out fires, securing the next round of funding, to see it as an alarm. I thought it was just part of growing up. The cost wasn't in the big fights. It was in the non-conversations. It was Carol asking me, for the 10th consecutive year, if I could plan to be free for Sophie's birthday in June. It was me, in April, saying, "Absolutely, mark it down." And then, in May, having to go to Frankfurt for a plant inspection. I called her on her birthday, my voice echoing in some hotel room. "How is my girl?" I said. "Fine," she said. The silence on the other end of the line was longer and heavier than any word. Carol left when Sophie was 20, not in a dramatic way, slamming doors. One Saturday, She sat in the chair in front of my desk and said, very calmly, "I can't do this anymore, Mike. I'm alone. She's gone, and you're not here, and I'm just living in a museum of what we were supposed to be. I promised to change. I meant it. But the business was like a runaway train with no brakes. I was on it. I didn't know how to get off. The turning point, it wasn't the sale. That was just a number on a screen. It was 2 years later. I was 64, retired, technically. I had bought an apartment in Florida, thinking that Carol and I maybe, well, it doesn't matter. I was alone. Sophie was 34, living in Oregon. We spoke perhaps 4 times a year, brief and courteous updates. I decided to fix things. This is how I saw it. A project to manage. I went to visit her unannounced, a grand gesture. I stood on the porch of her small craftsman-style house. She opened the door. She had a baby on her hip. A small child, about 18 months old, with curly hair. I didn't know she was pregnant. I didn't know she had had a child. She hadn't told me. The expression on her face was not one of anger. It was worse. It was one of surprise, then a quick and practiced calm. "Dad," she said. "What a surprise." I stared at my grandson. His name was Leo. I learned his name at that moment, on the porch. She invited me in. We had tea. She was kind, terribly, distantly kind, like a palliative care nurse. She showed me pictures of his birth, of his first birthday. I had missed them all. I asked her with a heavy voice why she hadn't. He had told me. She looked at me for a long time. Then she said, "Who would he have told, Dad? The man who was always busy. I stopped trying to give you news that you didn't have time to receive." I stayed in a hotel for 2 days. I saw Leo one more time. I held him. He smelled like baby shampoo and graham crackers. He had his mother's eyes. When I left, Sophie hugged me. It was a careful hug, the kind you give to an acquaintance. She said, "Travel safe." She didn't say, "Come back soon." She didn't say, "I love you." The habit between us was too broken. So look up from your screen. Tonight, go and sit in the room where the people you love are. Don't say anything deep. Just be there. Let the evening pass with them in it. Do it again tomorrow. That's not time wasted. It's the only thing that at the end of all this won't feel like sand slipping through your fingers. My name is Michael. I am 76 years old, and I would give every dollar, every recognition, every bit of that so-called success for an ordinary Tuesday back with my family. Just one. But that's not how time works. It just moves forward. Be where you are.